The Egyptian President Abdel Fattah Sisi has announced a 3-month state of emergency following Sunday's church bomb attacks that killed about 43 people. Here's Yasser Hakim with more from Egypt.
Egyptian President Abdel Fattah Sisi is usually a calm figure when he addresses the nation, but not this time. The enormity of the events unfolding on Sunday were evident in his tone and words.
They are trying to divide you. They hate seeing you united. They tried to damage the tourism sector, but you stayed strong. They tried to damage the economy, but you stayed strong. They turned to large terrorist attacks. Now they try to divide you from inside, how to tear the community apart. We have to be careful and aware for the sake of Egypt, for the Egyptians, for Egypt's future. It is a huge sacrifice, but we are up to it.
Egypt's president said the fight against terrorism is a long and costly endeavor. Patience and caution from all Egyptians is needed at this critical stage. El-Sisi then announced a 3-month state of emergency to help authorities curb the militants. The Egyptian leader also announced the establishment of the Higher Council for Counter-Terrorism and Extremism, with broad powers to take action.
The council will have all the powers to implement the anti-terrorism plan adopted by National Defense Council, powers related to how to deal with the media, powers to approach justice, legal powers, and religious preaching.
Most, if not all, Egyptians we spoke to have supported the measures set by El-Sisi.
The terrorists are savages. They must be brought to justice and given the death penalty right away. I agree to the new measures announced by the president. Security must be upgraded.
As the casualties rise, more Egyptians feel terrorism needs an iron fist. As the country goes into national mourning, the latest decisions by the Egyptian president could prove to be a turning point in his approach to the fight against terrorism. Yasser Hakim for CGTN, Cairo.
And we can now cross over to Yasser. He's standing by for us in Cairo. Yasser, President El-Sisi has announced a 3-month state of emergency. So what's the latest situation on the ground?
Yes, the state of emergency starts at 1100 hours GMT, so 1 hour from now, as approved and confirmed by the government this morning, according to the law and the constitution. So this will be into effect 1 hour from now. Now, on the ground, there's also been the funerals for some of the victims of the bomb attacks yesterday have taken place in Alexandria and in Tanta, and some of them in their hometowns and villages of the victims as well. At the same time, the army has deployed the special units around the country, and we have also seen them working side by side with the policemen to guard special installations, mosques, churches, government houses or institutions, as well as the checkpoints in the streets have increased considerably around the country in the last few hours to ensure safety for the streets and the different places in Egypt. Obviously, there's a national mourning for 3 days that's been announced. So this is felt all around the country, whether in the media or the normal daily works of the Egyptians. There is this sign of anger and sadness within the country.
Well, Yasser, those measures announced by the president that include a 3-month state of emergency, a higher council for counter-terrorism and extremism, how can that aid, though, in the fight against terrorism?
Yes, first of all, if we talk about the state of emergency, that gives the security officials the power to take action against suspects or to monitor, more freedom to monitor organizations, because it's been seen by the officials that those terrorist groups have received a lot of funding, a lot of logistical and intelligence support. And the president himself said in his speech last night that behind those terrorist groups like ISIL are countries, not individuals, that are supporting them and are giving them the funding, the military support, and the intelligence and training equipment as well. And he's called on the international community to bring those countries to justice and to be punished for supporting terrorist groups. So this needs more terror or counter-terror steps that is required within the state of emergency. Well, and if you talk about the new, also the new council, the anti-terrorism council, will also have the powers to control and coordinate between the different government and official organizations in one aspect, and that is to fight terrorism.
Yes, so those are quite a number of measures announced there by the president and the government. So what else do we expect as measures that may counter this terrorism?
Yes, one very important aspect is that religious preaching. And the president hinted in his speech that he was not satisfied with the efforts by the government and by institutions such as Al-Azhar to promote moderate preaching and to promote new outlook to preaching that would be more attractive to the young, rather than the extremism thought that has been prevailing around the world, not just in Egypt. And he said that the new council will put huge emphasis on training preachers, on adopting new and modern preaching methods that would be more attractive to the youth and to the Muslims around the world, and even the non-Muslims, and to help in countering the extremist thought. And this is a very important issue that he has been calling for the last 3 years, but he sees that the results are not good enough, and that extremist thought is still spreading around using the latest technology and methods, emails, all the social media, and he wants to counter this. And he says this is as important as the security side, as the military side in combating terrorism.
Right, Yasser Hakim for us there with the very latest information coming out of Egypt.